Hello fams, welcome back. Please subscribe to help the growth of this channel. So picture this, a seemingly ordinary day unfolding in the heart of South Africa, a quiet Tuesday in Pretoria, the administrative capital, where the wheels of government slowly turn. Jacarandas blooming in vibrant purple hues, painting the city in its signature springtime glory. A beautiful, peaceful scene. Traffic crawling through the city streets, the usual hustle and bustle of daily life. And then out of nowhere, disrupting the calm and the routine, a tweet from Donald Trump, a single tweet capable of sending ripples across continents. Suddenly South Africa is global news, thrust into the international spotlight by 280 characters. Trump's tweet wasn't a friendly hello, a diplomatic gesture, or a note of encouragement. It was a digital grenade, lobbed from across the Atlantic, designed to detonate, tossed directly into the heart of our politics, igniting a firestorm of debate and controversy. The rand nosedived, its value plummeting in response to the uncertainty. Investors panicked, their confidence shaken by the unpredictable nature of the American president. And the economy took a hit, feeling the immediate repercussions of a single impulsive message. But this was just the beginning, the initial tremor of a much larger earthquake. Trump's administration started making noise, hinting at further action and escalating the tension. About reviewing South Africa's trade benefits, questioning the fairness of existing agreements. Under AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, the golden ticket for our exports, providing preferential access to the lucrative American market. Losing AGOA would be a gut punch to our economy, a devastating blow to businesses and livelihoods across the country. The stage was set for a major confrontation. The US, led by a president who loves chaos, thrives on disruption and isn't afraid to break with diplomatic norms, versus South Africa, already struggling with inequality, a deep-seated problem that continues to plague our society, and corruption, a cancer eating away at the foundations of our government and institutions. You'd expect the ANC, the ruling party, to panic, to be thrown into disarray by this unexpected attack. Maybe send a fruit basket, a symbolic gesture of goodwill, a desperate attempt to appease the American president, to Washington, hoping to smooth things over and prevent further escalation. But behind the outrage, the carefully crafted expressions of public anger, some in the ANC seemed oddly pleased, almost as if they had been handed an unexpected gift. Trump's tweet gave them a new narrative, a fresh storyline to capture the public's attention, a distraction from their own troubles, the mounting scandals and accusations of corruption that threatened to engulf them. Instead of scrambling, panicking and reacting defensively, they saw an opportunity, a chance to turn the situation to their advantage. The government's public outrage, the carefully orchestrated condemnation, masked a quiet satisfaction, a sense that they had been handed a valuable political tool. Suddenly, the ANC had a foreign villain, a convenient scapegoat to blame for all of South Africa's problems, to rally against, uniting the country in a common cause against an external threat. The conversation shifted almost overnight, from local scandals, the endless stream of corruption allegations, to national pride, a renewed sense of patriotism and unity in the face of foreign aggression. Trump's tweet was more than a headline, a fleeting moment of international attention. It was a political gift, a strategic advantage handed to the ANC on a silver platter. The ANC could now unite its fractured ranks, bringing together warring factions under a banner of national solidarity. Against a common enemy, a powerful and unpredictable force from across the ocean, the world watched, captivated by this unfolding drama. But at home, in the townships and the boardrooms, in the halls of Parliament and on the street, the real game was just beginning, a complex and intricate dance of power and politics. The tweet was the spark, the catalyst that ignited a chain reaction. What followed would reshape South African politics, its alliances, its priorities, and its future. And the ANC was ready to play, poised to seize the moment and navigate the turbulent waters ahead. So let's really break it down. What exactly did the Trump administration in response to the situation in South Africa? It wasn't just a matter of idle chatter or diplomatic niceties. It all started with a tweet. Trump's tweet directly accused South Africa of land seizures, a highly sensitive and contentious issue. He also amplified claims of farmer killings, adding fuel to a fire that was already burning. These accusations were directly echoing far-right talking points. a move that raised eyebrows and sparked considerable controversy. This wasn't just casual commentary or off-the-cuff remarks. It was a deliberate provocation designed to elicit a response, and the US administration followed up this initial salvo with explicit threats to review South Africa's AGOA trade benefits, a critical component of their economic relationship. That's a very direct threat, with serious implications to jobs and the overall economic stability of the nation. Sanctions talk started swirling in the air, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty and fear. The US was subtly hinting at potential human rights concerns, further escalating the tension. Ultimately, no formal sanctions landed, but the mere threat alone spooked banks and sent shivers down the spines of investors. Suddenly, South Africa was on a global watch list, isolated and vulnerable, without a single shot fired in anger. The negative PR campaign ramped up significantly. Major news networks began painting South Africa as a failing or even a failed state. The narrative was firmly set: South Africa, unfairly cast as the villain in this unfolding drama. This wasn't just a disagreement over policy, it was a full-blown, multifaceted PR war waged on multiple fronts. The combination of the initial inflammatory tweet, the explicit trade threats hanging over their heads, and the relentless barrage of negative press coverage created a perfect storm of economic and reputational damage. The government in Pretoria found itself under siege, economically facing immense pressure and reputationally, with its global image severely tarnished. Trump's moves, whether intentional or not, were calculated in their effect, precisely targeting South Africa's existing vulnerabilities and weaknesses. The pressure was undeniably on, and the entire world was watching with bated breath to see what would happen next. The ANC government had to respond decisively, but not in the predictable way that anyone, including their detractors, expected. The rand crashed, fast. It wasn't a gradual decline, it was a precipitous drop, a freefall that sent shockwaves through the South African economy. The speed and severity of the crash were alarming, catching many off guard and triggering immediate concerns about the stability of the nation's financial system. For ordinary South Africans, that meant higher prices for everything from fuel to bread. These weren't just minor price adjustments, they were significant increases that strained household budgets and made it harder for families to afford basic necessities. The cost of living began to skyrocket, placing immense pressure on ordinary citizens. The poorest felt it first. They were the most vulnerable, with the least capacity to absorb the sudden economic shock. The rising cost of food and transportation hit them hardest, pushing many further into poverty and exacerbating existing inequalities. The government's borrowing costs soared, draining money from social programs. With less money available, essential services like healthcare, education, and housing faced cuts, further impacting the lives of the most vulnerable citizens. The government was forced to make difficult choices, prioritizing debt repayment over social welfare. Investors fled, spooked by the chaos. The uncertainty and instability created a climate of fear, prompting investors to pull their money out of South Africa and seek safer havens elsewhere. This capital flight further weakened the economy and deepened the crisis. The threat to AGOA hit agriculture and manufacturing hard. Wine farms, citrus growers, suddenly their access to the US market was in doubt. This uncertainty cast a long shadow over the agricultural sector, threatening the livelihoods of farmers and farm workers alike. The potential loss of access to the US market, a key export destination, raised serious concerns about the future of South African agriculture. Orders were cancelled, jobs at risk. The ripple effects spread throughout the economy, leading to layoffs and increased unemployment. Families struggled to make ends meet, and the social fabric of communities began to fray. Investor confidence evaporated. South Africa's pitch to foreign investors, stability, opportunity, was undermined by a single tweet. The promise of a secure and profitable investment destination was shattered, replaced by a perception of risk and uncertainty. Capital flight starved the economy, growth stalled, unemployment rose. The economic engine sputtered, leaving many without work and struggling to survive. The domino effect was relentless. Trump's intervention didn't just rattle markets, it exposed how vulnerable South Africa was to global shocks. The country's reliance on foreign investment and trade made it susceptible to external pressures and policy changes. The ANC faced a crisis, but also a chance to change the story. The economic pain was real, but the political opportunity was even bigger. The crisis presented an opportunity for the ANC to demonstrate leadership, implement reforms, and regain the trust of the people. The question, how would they use it? Would they rise to the occasion and seize the moment, or would they succumb to the pressures and allow the crisis to deepen? The future of South Africa hung in the balance. The ANC's public response? Outrage. Official statements condemned Trump's unfortunate comments. President Ramaphosa declared South Africa would solve its own problems. The message, "We don't take orders from anyone." Ministers called Trump's intervention neo-colonialism. They pointed to America's own issues, flipping the script. The ANC closed ranks, united by a common enemy. Press conferences, fiery speeches. South Africa was portrayed as defiant, not desperate. The government doubled down on land reform, accelerating the process. Instead of backing down, they pushed forward. The ANC turned Trump's criticism into a rallying cry. This wasn't panic, it was political judo. The party projected strength, using the crisis to unify its base. Trump's attack became the ANC's shield. Why would the ANC be smiling as the economy stumbles? Trump's attack gave them a powerful external enemy. Suddenly, the focus shifted from corruption scandals to national pride. The ANC could unite its fractured factions against a foreign threat. Trump was the perfect villain, easy to dislike, easy to rally against. The party's liberation struggle roots were reignited. Land reform, once divisive, became a symbol of defiance. The ANC used Trump's criticism to silence internal dissent and push their agenda. In a twist, Trump became the best marketing agent for the ANC's most radical policies. Before Trump's tweet, the ANC was under fire for corruption, failing state enterprises, and unemployment. Suddenly all eyes were on Trump, not the government's failures. The national conversation shifted. Domestic problems faded from the headlines. The ANC seized the distraction, recasting itself as the nation's defender. Every press conference became about sovereignty, not service delivery. The party went on the attack, controlling the narrative. Trump did the heavy lifting. The ANC just had to react. It was a low-effort, high-reward strategy. For a struggling government, this was a political windfall. The real issues were pushed aside, at least for now. Trump's intervention reignited the ANC's base. For many, the ANC is the party of liberation, but loyalty was fading. Trump's attack gave supporters a reason to rally. The narrative, only the ANC could defend South Africa from foreign bullies. The party's election machinery got a shot of adrenaline. Opposition parties were trapped, criticized the ANC, and risked looking unpatriotic. The ANC wrapped itself in the flag, making patriotism synonymous with party loyalty. The crisis unified the faithful and sidelined dissent. The focus shifted from failures to fighting an external threat. The ANC's grip on its base tightened. Trump's tweet became a rallying cry, not just a headline. Trump's focus on land reform was no accident. The land issue is South Africa's most explosive debate. The ANC had been slow on reform, losing ground to more radical parties. Trump's criticism gave them cover to push a more aggressive policy. Land expropriation became an act of defiance, not just justice. The ANC reclaimed the narrative from the economic freedom fighters. But this was risky, spooking investors and deepening divisions. The short-term political win could have long-term costs. The land question needs careful debate, not knee-jerk reactions. Trump's tweet lit a fire the ANC might not be able to control. So where does this leave South Africa? The ANC turned a crisis into a political opportunity, rallying the nation and its base. But the economic damage is real weak. Nervous investors, rising costs. Patriotic rhetoric can't fix hospitals or create jobs. Using Trump's attack to push radical policies risks long-term stability. The real tragedy, urgent issues like education, jobs and real land reform are sidelined. The ANC may be grinning now. But the challenges are immense. True leadership means facing problems head-on, not just pointing fingers. The future depends on whether leaders can look beyond short-term wins. Playing politics with the nation's future is a dangerous gamble. The smile on the ANC's face today could become tomorrow's regret. South Africa stands at a crossroads. The next move matters for everyone.